So in this class, we'll talk about the reproductive system, both in case of the male as well as in case of the female. Okay. So as you know, the reproductive system is the system which produce gametes. Gametes means the sperm and the ovum. Together, the male sperm and the female ovum, together they are called as gametes. And so the reproductive system is a system that produces the gametes to reproduce new organisms. So when that sperm and the ovum come together, it helps in the production of a new organism or a new human being. That is called as reproductive system. Okay. It conserves the species and ensure the continuity of life. This is very important. Reproductive system in case of the human beings is very important for the conservation of the species as well as the life on this earth. So that is very important. It consists of reproductive organs which will produce the gametes, specialized for production of the gametes as well as the sex hormones. So they do two functions, not one function. So the reproductive organs will have two functions. One is production of gametes, which helps in production of the new organism, new human being. The second is production of sex hormone, which will give the male feature to the male and the female feature to the female. So there are differences. Okay, these differences come from the sex hormones. So that hormones are also produced by these reproductive system. Okay, so the reproductive system consists of the external and internal organs. The external organs like the testis as well as the penis, and the internal organs like the epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicles, ejaculatory duct, Cowper's gland, or also called as the bulbourethral glands, as well as the prostate. So all these are the internal organs because they are inside the body. But there are two organs which are outside. Those are called as testis as well as the penis. Okay. Uh, Coming to the picture showing you these male reproductive organs. One is here is the testis outside, and here will be the penis. So these are the two structures which are outside the body. Then there are organs which are inside. Those are the epididymis, the prostate. Here is the seminal vesicles, the vas deferens, the bulbourethral glands. So all these are inside the body. Okay. So this is the picture shown from the side from in this view. If you see deep inside, then you can see all the structures. Here is the urine bladder. Just below that is the prostate. This is the prostate here. This is the bulbourethral gland. This is the seminal vesicle. This is the vas deferens. We will discuss all this one by one. Here is the testis, and this is the epididymis. Okay. So starting from the male reproductive system, that is the scrotum, where the testis is present. The testis is present in a bag-like structure. This is called as the scrotum. Scrotum is the bag, skinny bag, within which it houses the testis. It keeps the testis inside it. The scrotum, that is testis house. It is also called as the testis because the testis will be present inside the scrotum. So the scrotum is skin surrounding the testis and produces an environment 3 degree cooler than the body temperature to prevent degradation of the spermatogonium. So if you know that the reproduction in case of the human beings need a lower temperature, especially the spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis means production of the spermatocytes or spermatogonium. Okay, sperm producing cells. So this needs a lower body temperature than the body temperature. So this testis will be at a lower body temperature by being outside the body within the scrotum. So this scrotum provides an environment cooler, lesser than 3 degree of body temperature. So if the body temperature is 37.2 degrees that is the average for the human beings. So this, because it is outside the body in the scrotum, it gives a lower body temperature from 33 to 34 degrees Celsius. Okay. Then coming to the cremaster muscle, there is a muscle inside that is called as the cremaster muscle. It is a band of skeletal muscle lies in the scrotum which elevates the testis when the temperature is decreased. If the testis temperature decreases more than that, so inside this is the scrotum. So there inside that there is a muscle called as the cremaster muscle. So whenever this the testis temperature becomes very low because of outside temperature, then this testis is elevated upwards. Okay, to increase the temperature. Now if you can see here, there is the same scrotum here. So this is the scrotum here. So it is a skinny bag made up of skin as well as the muscle. Cremaster muscle will be out above this here, and here is the dartus muscle. Okay, and here you can see these are the two testes, a pair of testes. This is the scrotum, which is divided into two boxes within which two testes, the right and left testes, will be present. So they are in pairs. Okay, so this is the testis, and these are all the coverings around it. Okay, so here if you see here, this is the cremaster muscle. This is the cremaster muscle, and here is the dartus muscle. Okay. So the testis lies in the scrotum and produces the sperms. So testis is the site where the sperms are produced. Along with that, I said it also produces sex hormones. The male sex hormone is produced by testis, that is called as the testosterone, the male sex hormone, which is responsible for the secondary sex characters. Means this hormones will help in development of the male features like the beard, development of beard, the development of mustache, the growth of the body more than that of the female. So all this is because of the development, because of the secretion of the hormone called as testosterone, which is called as the male sex hormone, which is responsible for the secondary sex characters. Means the development of beard, the mustache, the growth of the body, tall, length, as well as the muscular body. All these are because of the testosterone. Each testis consists of almost 200, 250 to 300 lobules. Later we'll see if you see here. So this is the cross section of the testis. So if you see here, this is one lobule. So each testis is divided into lobules. This is one lobule. So this is one lobule, this is one lobule. In between there is septum. This is the septum which divide the testis into 200 to 300 or 250 to 300 lobules are there in each testis. Here there are only few shown, but there will be 250 to 300 lobules. Each lobule contains 1 to 4 coiled seminiferous tubules. Inside that, if you see here, there are coiled structured. These are nothing but the seminiferous tubules. These are the seminiferous tubules where actually the sperms are produced here in this small, minor, very thin tubes which are highly coiled. So these are called as the seminiferous tubules. Okay. So each lobule contains 1 to 4 coiled seminiferous tubules. The seminiferous tubule drain into the rete testis by the vas efferentia into the epididymis. So if you see here, all these seminiferous tubules finally open into something called as the rete testis, and from there they drain into this part is the epididymis. Okay, so by efferent ductules, these are the efferent ductules, small tubes through which it will open into this epididymis. This is the whole epididymis. Okay, so this is called as the epididymis, this whole structure. So the seminiferous tubules open into the epididymis to the efferent ductules and the rete testis. Okay, so the seminiferous tubule drain into the rete testis and by the vas efferentia into the epididymis. The cells of the testis are called as spermatogonium, the sperm forming cells. If you see the histology, if you take a section of this, then see under the microscope. I think we don't have the picture. So under the microscope, you see this small seminiferous tubule cross section. There you can see inside that lot of sperm forming cells. These are called as the spermatogonium. These are the primitive form of sperm cells. Okay, so these will be present within the testis. Along with that, there will be some cells called as Leydig cells in between the seminiferous tubules. In between, there will be small cells called as the Leydig cells. These are responsible for the production of the male sex hormone, that is the testosterone, Leydig cells. Then we also have the Sertoli cells. These are supporting cells and protect the sperms. These are called as the cells of Sertoli or Sertoli cells. So there are three types of cells. One is the spermatogonium, which are the sperm forming cells. Then the Leydig cells, which produce the testosterone, and the Sertoli cells, which are the supporting and protecting cells. Now coming to the epidermis, I said this is the structure called as epidermis, into which all the seminiferous tubules and rete testis open here. Okay, so this is the epidermis here. You can see. Okay, these are testes and these are the lobules. Each lobule having the seminiferous tubules and all opening into rete testis. From there and through the different ductules into the epidermis. So what is epidermis? It is the duct of the epidermis is almost 6 meters long when uncoiled. So it is nothing but a long duct which is sitting in a very small chamber, and this is called as the epidermis. So it is a long duct which will be coiled, highly coiled and kept in a very small region, and it is called as the epidermis. It is 6 meters long, very long when uncoiled. When they are uncoiled, then it is, but it is coiled totally here. Lined with pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium. Again, if you see under the microscope, you can see inside that each tubule, it is lined by pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium with stereocilia, which help in the movement of the sperms. Epidermis is a site for sperm storage and maturation. So what is the function of the epidermis? Testis is the site of production of the sperms as well as the male sex hormone, that is the testosterone. So what is the function of the epidermis? This is the site for storage of the sperms as well as maturation of the sperms. Both the storage as well as the maturation of the sperms will be taking place in the epidermis. Even though the sperms are produced in the testis, their maturation as well as storage takes place in the epidermis. Then we have a long duct. So here what you studied till now is this is the testis and this is the epidermis. Now this epidermis open to a long duct. This is called as the vas deferens. It is also called as the ductus deferens, or it is also called as the vas deferens. It is 45 centimeters long, very long tube, transports sperms from the epidermis to the ejaculatory duct. So it will be transporting the sperms from the testis or the epidermis all the way up to the tube here. This is called as the ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct. So where it will go the sperms. Now coming to the something called as the accessory organs, means which are additional organs which assist help. Okay, these are called as the one is seminiferous vesicles, seminiferous or the seminal vesicles. Sorry, so these are called as the seminal vesicles. Lie behind the urinary bladder. If you see, so this is the urinary bladder. I said this is the bladder. So this vas deferens go all the way and it opens here into the, this is the prostate here. So there is a duct called as ejaculatory duct. Beside that, if you see here, this is the seminiferous tubule. So it is present, both the vas deferens as well as the seminiferous tubules are present behind the bladder, on the back of the bladder. Okay. So the seminiferous vesicle, the seminal vesicle lies behind the urinary bladder. If you see this picture, so this is the picture seen from behind. This is the urinary bladder here. So if you take a picture, this is the urinary bladder here. If you take a picture from here, and if you see from behind, this is how it looks like. So this is a picture showing the urinary bladder, and this is the back picture. So here is the prostate. These are the bulbourethral glands, and this is the vas deferens coming all the way, and this is the seminal vesicle beside the vas deferens and the seminal. This is the cut section, and here you can see the actual one. So the seminal vesicles lie behind the urinary bladder, secretes about 70% of the volume of the semen. So that's why it is called as the seminal fluid, because it secretes almost 70% of the semen. So it is called as the seminal fluid. The seminal fluid contains fructose. Fructose. It contains fructose. For what for? They help in the nourishing of the sperms. The sperms need energy that is provided by the fructose. The other substances to assist in the fertilization. Okay. So, this is the seminal vesicle. This is the vast difference. Here is the prostate, and these are the bulbourethral glands. So, seminal vesicle, prostate, and the bulbourethral glands are the accessory glands. Accessory means which assist. So, this is the ductus difference or vas difference. This is the seminal vesicles and prostate. Now, coming to the prostate gland. So it lies below the urinary bladder. As you can see in this picture, this is the urinary bladder. It lies below the urinary bladder. Okay. Encircles the prostatic urethra. So if you see here in this previous picture, so there is a urethra coming from the bladder. This is the urethra. Okay, it's a long structure in case of male. So it is very long. So it passes to different structures. When it passes through the prostate, this is the prostate here. So prostatic gland, if you see here. Okay. So when it passes through the prostate, that is called as prostatic urethra. When it passes through the penis, it is called as the penile urethra. When it passes through a membrane, here it is called as membranous urethra. So there are different parts of the urethra. So here this is the prostatic urethra, which is present in the prostate. So as soon as bladder opens into the prostate, so this ejaculatory duct with the seminal vesicles as well as the ductus difference also open into this prostatic urethra. Okay. So this prostate will encircle the prostatic urethra, or the prostatic urethra passes through the prostate gland. This prostate, even though this is the largest of the accessory gland, this secretes only 25% of the seminal fluid. So the seminal fluid is called as seminal fluid because it is secreted 70% secreted by the seminal vesicles. Okay, so that's why it is called as the seminal fluid. So what does this secretion from the prostate will contain? So this prostate secretions contain that enhances the sperm motility and nutrition. So the contents of the prostatic secretion will have those things which will enhance the sperm motility and also gives the nutrition, like the citric acid as well as the acid phosphatase enzymes. And this prostate is common for tumors, especially after the age of 50 or so. The prostate tumors occur in almost 20% of males by the 40 years age and almost 90% of men by the 80 years age. So these prostatic tumors are quite common in case of the male. Okay, now you can see here, this is the urinary bladder, and below that is the prostate, and through that prostate this urethra is passing, this called as the prostatic urethra. Okay, so this is the front view, coronal view, this is the sagittal view, side view. So again you can see this is the urinary bladder, and below it is opening into the prostatic urethra, and this is the prostate gland. Prostate gland. Okay, so this is the prostatic urethra, here is the membranous urethra, and this is the penile urethra. Now coming to the bulbourethral gland, just below the prostate, if you see here, there will be something called as bulbourethra. This is the very small glands called as the bulbourethral glands. Bulbourethral glands are also called as the Cowper's gland, lie inferior to the prostate gland, as I showed you. Produce a mucus 5% of the seminal fluid. So it produces mucus, and it is just 5% of the total seminal fluid. Mucus enters sponge urethra before ejaculation. So the mucus enters the sponge urethra before ejaculation so that there can be free movement of the ejaculated seminal fluid. Cleanses the urethra. So after passing through the sponge urethra, what does it does? It cleanses the urethra and neutralizes the vaginal acidic pH. So it cleanses the urethra of the male as well as goes into the vagina and neutralize the vaginal acidic pH. If not, the sperms will die. Okay. So here are the bulbourethral gland below the prostate. So these are the urinary bladder. These are the seminal vesicle. These are the vas deferens. So this is the pictures seen from side. This is the back view, posterior view. This is the side view. So here you can see this is the bladder, and behind that is the seminal vesicle. This one. This is the prostate, and here are the bulbourethral glands. Now coming to the copulatory organ that is called as the penis. Penis is the erectile organ which conveys the sperms to the vagina. So the function of the penis is to convey the sperms to the vagina. It has root, body, and glands. It has three parts. Mm, Okay. So this penis consists of the three parts: the root, body, and the glands. And the erection, the penis filled with blood becomes stiff. So erection is a process where the blood will collect into the penis and the penis become stiff and erect. Then ejaculation is the process of ejection of the sperms. So there are two things which are separate. Erection is just the blood filled within the penis which leads to stiffness of the penis. Ejaculation is the ejection of the sperms from the penis. The glans penis is the terminal end and most sensitive part because it contains the nerve endings. It is covered by foreskin or the skin of prepuce, and removing this skin is called as the circumcision. Is the removal of the skin of prepuce for religious or treatment purposes, and it prevents carcinomas in case of the males, as well as it also is very helpful in the decreased number of carcinoma in case of even females too. Okay. Now coming to the female reproductive system. This is the side view again, seeing from the side. This is the female reproductive organs. Which are those? Here also there are internal as well as external organs. Internal organs of the uterus, fallopian tubes, ovary, and vagina. If you see here, this is the uterus, ovary is here, this is the fallopian tube, and this is the vagina. So these are the internal organs. So what are the external organs? External organs which are outside here are collectively called as the vulva, which consist of the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, as well as the hymen. Now coming to the first organ, that is the uterus. It is a muscular organ. So as you can see here, this is the uterus here. So it is a muscular organ which receives the fertilized ovum and provides suitable environment for the development of the fetus. Okay, even though the ovum is produced in the ovary is here where the the ovum is produced, but once it is fertilized, it comes into the uterus, this uterus, and develops here. So even though the ovary is giving rise to the ovum, but once it is fertilized by sperm, it will come into the cavity of the uterus and develops here. Okay, so that's why it is very important organ for the development of the fetus. It is a muscular organ which receives the fertilized ovum and provides the environment for the development of the fetus. It has three parts: the fundus body and the cervix. Okay, so if you see here, so this is the picture showing you the three parts. The fundus above the opening of the fallopian tube, this is the fallopian tube, which is also called as the oviduct, or it is also called as the uterine duct. So all these are the same names for the fallopian tube. So any opening above the opening of the two fallopian tubes, this whole region is called as the fundus. Below that, with a large cavity, this is called as the body, and the lowermost part, which is uh, not dilated unless during the labor, this is called as the cervix. Okay, so cervix, which dilates only during labor. The wall of the uterus consists of three layers: perimetrium, myometrium, as well as the endometrium. You see again the wall. So the outer wall, this is called as the perimetrium. this muscular part is called as myometrium, and the inner part is called as endometrium, which plays a very important role in the implantation of the fetus. Okay, so the perimetrium, outer peritoneal covering, myometrium, the muscular wall, endometrium, inner mucous lining. So here the three layers: perimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Okay, now coming to the fallopian tubes. After the uterus, we are thinking about the tube that is bringing the sperms and the ovum and the fertilization. Okay, so these are called as fallopian tubes, long tube. It is a muscular tube that transports the ovum from the ovary to the uterine cavity. It is the site of fertilization. So the fallopian tube is the site of fertilization. It has four parts called infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus, and the intrauterine part. If you see here, this is the whole tube. Okay, so it has different parts. Okay, so this is the ovary here where the ovum is produced. Now this is the infundibulum. Now this is the ampulla. Then we have the isthmus. Then the intramural part. These are the four parts of the uterine tubes. Infundibulum. Then the middle part, which is the large part, is the ampulla. Then we have the isthmus, narrow part, and the intramural part. Intramural means inside, mural means muscle. Within the wall of the uterus is called as the intramural part. Okay, so these are the four parts of the fallopian tube. Then we have the ovary, which lies in the lateral wall close to the uterus and the fallopian tubes, which will produce the ovum and sex hormones of female called as estrogen and progesterone. So this is the ovary here, okay, which is beside the uterine cavity and below the fallopian tubes. This is the organ which will produce the sex hormone, female sex hormone called as estrogen and the progesterone, along with the ovum. Then finally coming to the vagina. Okay, that is the muscular tube. It is okay. So it is a muscular tube. It is 10 centimeters long. Receives the sperm deposited by the penis and conveys them to the uterus. So this is the vagina, which is a quite dilatable part. So this is the side where it is muscular tube. It is 10 centimeters long, quite long. Receives sperms deposited by the penis and convey them to the uterus. So whatever sperms are put forward here, they will enter the cervix, through that into the uterus, and from there to the fallopian tube, where the ovum will come, and here in the ampullary part will be the fertilization taking place here. Then the fertilized egg will move towards the isthmus, intramural part, and then gets implanted within the endometrium here. So again it is showing here, this picture is showing the ovary, and if you see here, this is the vagina part lowermost. Here this is the picture showing you the vagina. So again we are seeing the different structures, the ovary, the uterine tubes, and here is the large cavity called as the vaginal cavity. Finally coming to the external genitalia of the female. Okay, the external genitalia of the female consists of the clitoris. So it is homologous to penis in case of male, but it is not developed in case of female. This is the clitoris, which is just like penis in case of male, but it is very small in case of the female. And just like the penis, it is very sensitive to touch. Okay, it is homologous to the penis in male. It is erectile tissue, just like the penis. The prepuce of the foreskin covers most of the clitoris. So here, just like the penis is covered by skin, this is also covered by skin. The glans clitoris contain the nerve endings. So this glans contains the nerve endings which will be sensitive. The labia minora and labia majora are folds of skin, labia majora being hairy. So there are two parts here in the vagina. So this is called as the labia minora and this is called as the labia majora. How do you identify the labia majora? So this will contain hair, but the labia minora will be thin and no hair. So this will be thick and hair. The vestibule contains the vaginal and urethral opening. It is the area surrounded by the labia minora. So this opening, large opening, this is called as the vestibule. So it will have an vaginal opening here behind and the urethral opening at the top. Okay, and it is surrounded by the labia minora. Okay. So this is all about the reproductive system. If you have any questions regarding this, you can ask me now.
No, thank you, doctor.
No questions?